Jheva, quick, hide at home, the coronavirus is coming. What do you mean you're gonna reflect the coronavirus? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Faye the 4th here. Unfortunately, because of the amount of cards that this deck now draws, RMS004 is overseas right now, so he cannot cover this video. So instead, I will be covering the weakest Dragon Empire deck ever released, Nirvana Jheva. So Nirvana Jheva has been an absolutely horrible deck for the past 4 sets, right? But it has finally gotten to a state where it's actually not playable, but it will still lose to Messiah. Oh wait. So let's get into it. It's gonna be the fastest video ever made in the history because everyone knows what the Mexican does, right? So we have the scrambled eggs. It's just scrambled eggs, but he has a piece of hair coming out. We have the heart pounding Blaze Maiden Reno. She definitely does not make my heart pound because of how bad she is. When rolled upon by the new Ryu, the one that everyone wants to get the FR for, you search a deck for up to one very bad card. It's called Trickstar, and then you can call it to anywhere. So you want to call it there for right, you want to call it behind, also can. You can do it like the anime, call it behind your Vanguard for 15k column. And her rear guard skill is that when she boosts a Prayer Dragon, you know, those very bad cards, she gains 5k. Then you have Ryu, the new Ryu, the one that everyone wants to buy a FR for. So Ryu's skill is that when rolled upon by a very bad Nirvana Jheva, you search the top 7 cards of your deck for one Prayer Dragon, you know, the very bad cards that only have one effect and usually they cause a counter blast. And then you add it to your hand. But do note that because this deck doesn't really play that many Prayer Dragons, you're most likely going to whiff this effect. So do not feel bad if you whiff this effect, it happens to the best of us. Yeah, okay. Then of course we have the main star itself, the worst drop boss unit ever released in Dragon Empire, Nirvana Chakrabarti Phoenix Dragon Nirvana Jheva. So Jheva has 2 skills. His first skill is act once per turn, discard a card from your hand to call a Trickstar and a Prayer Dragon from your drop zone back to your record circle. So yes, if it all gets bound by Messiah, you cannot call it back. Oh wait. So basically it's a -1 to +2, but then eventually you're gonna -2 anyways because you need to create your XOD unit, and we explained XOD in the previous video. So if you need an explanation of what XOD is, please look at the previous Nirvana Jheva video in the description. Then his second skill is that when he attacks, you counterblast 1, you choose a unit in the crossover dress state and you restand it. So yeah, so it's basically just multi-attack built into Jheva itself rather than needing a 13k grade 4 in your deck to restand. Moving on to our grade 3s, there's only one grade 3 because we don't like shieldless cards, so we're playing 4 copies of your win condition, which is Persona Right. Because this deck produces absolutely no magic numbers, so the only way they're going to win the game is with Persona Right. So that's why we are playing. And with the amount of cards that this deck draws, you're either going to see all of them damage or you're going to see all of them in your hand. So it's either you have no shield in your hand or you're not getting no defensive. Life is great. Next, we move on to our grade 2s, which include 4 copies of the worst, 1 copy of Ryu in the right deck, include 2 copies of the worst Vairina unit, which is Jewel Sword Equipped Dragon Garo Vairina. Then we have 1 copy of Views Vairina because we love Greed Shade. We have 4 copies of the strongest anime card, Vairina Axe. And of course, we have 4 copies of the new, very, very strong $3 card, Mira's Vairina. so we're going to go over all cards first. So we go Garo Vairina. Garo Vairina's skill is that he has the crossover dress ability. It means you need to combine him with a Trickstar and a Prayer Dragon in order to create him, which means that you have to -2 in order to get a 20k beater, because his skill is that if he's in the crossover dress state, he gains 10k power. It's so strong. And then after that, his ability is that during the battle that he attacks, every time that he attacks, your opponent has to guard with 2 or more cards from his hand, his or her hand if they want to guard. So it's basically just a battle door. It's the strongest win con that this deck has somehow, even so, but you only play at 2 copies because that's all he does. He's just there to win the game. And if you don't see him, you know, sucks to be you. But if you do see him early, there are ways to recover him, which is utilizing Views Vairina. So Views Vairina has 2 skills as well. So first of all, is crossover dress. There's 3 skills, because technically crossover dress is a skill ability. So basically you cover a Trickstar and a Prayer Dragon, you combine him to create Views Vairina. So Views Vairina lets you, when he's made into an XOD, you choose a XOD possessing unit. So we have 2 Garo Vairina as well as the 2 Mirage Vairina that we're going to cover later. From your drop zone, any card with the XOD possessing ability from your drop zone, and add it to your hand. So it basically allows you to recur XOD units back to your hand. It's very, very strong in the event that you get rushed and then you lose a lot of your XOD units to guard. You can just add them back and then you can create another XOD unit, utilizing some of the prayer dragons that we have to create another trickster. And then its sector ability is the only thing that makes this deck remotely able to fight Messiah all weight. Is that continuous, he gains, if he's in the crossover dress state, he gains 5k and 15 and 5k power, 10k shield and resist. So unless your opponent decides to pack Meteor Flare Dragon, it is Alter Ego Messiah deck, there's no way that he can get rid of it. So yeah, so he's not very good restand target because it's only 15k, but otherwise he's very strong because he has resist. And he also lets you add an XOD unit back to your hand, which is most of your good Vairina forms. Speaking of your good Vairina forms, let's go over the one non-XOD unit in this deck, which is Vairina Axe, a card that is still getting reprinted in 2023. So, because all he does is that you overdress him on top of Trickstar. You remember what overdress is, right? All you have is just a -1 instead of a -2. But other than that, it's just what happens is that you counterblast 1 when he's put into the overdress state to draw 2 and he gains 5k until the end of turn. So it net zeros back all the cost that you use to make Vairina Axe. But otherwise, it's just a 15k beater, it's not really that good. You're just there for you because there are ways for us to search overdress units, so we might as well just search the only overdress unit that will let us draw into an XOD unit or draw into a Persona Right, which we need to win the game. And yeah, that's all Vairina Axe does. He's still a very strong unit because of the draw 2, and because we actually have the access counterblast to use now, because we have the strongest $3 card, Mira's Vairina. So Mira's Vairina's skill is that once again it's an XOD unit. So I don't need to explain it again. And when he's put into the cross overdress state, you choose 2 Vairinas, so they can be either overdress Vairina or cross overdress Vairina from your drop zone, and you put it into your original dress. So originally, if you had only a prayer dragon and a trickstar in your original dress, you would choose 2 Vairinas from your drop zone and put them underneath. So total you have 4 original dress. Why are you stacking previous triple reds underneath it for whatever reason? Is when he attacks, you remove a Vairina from your original dress and put it into your drop zone. So basically, it's just get rid of it, put it into your drop zone. He can either draw a card. He either can draw a card, or he can countercharge. So yes, this is active countercharging during the battle phase, which means that for Nirvana Jheva skill, let's say you have all face down counterblast, you can attack with Mires, countercharge, and then swing with Jheva, and then you can counterblast again to restand. To restand him with the counterblast that you just countercharge. So he basically refunds his own cost. He basically can refund Jheva's entire cost and let you go from an unwinnable 0 CB turn into an actual turn where you can multi-attack. So he's a very, very important card. And he absolutely makes this deck much more playable than it would be otherwise. And also he gains 10k for free, just like the original Vairina from the start deck. So despite him being a hassle, to keep making, because if you realize, because you only put 2 Vairinas into your original dress, if you restand him and use his skill twice, he's basically a 20k vanilla after that. But so you have to, if you really want to keep using the counter charge of the draw, you have to keep making Mira's Vairina, and you only have 4 Mira's Vairina in the deck. So you can tell that this deck is still not that strong, even with all the drawing that it has. So that finally sums up the great tools, which means that the rest of the deck will go incredibly quickly, because the rest of the deck is just to facilitate all the great tools that we have just shown you. We had, for the great ones, we have 1 copy of Reno, we have 4 copies of Strike Equipped Dragon Stragalio, and we have 4 copies of Grail Mirror, which is a new prayer dragon that we got in set 10, as well as 4 Perfect Guards. So the Perfect Guards, because it's a card 5 Vanguard, you need to survive against Zorgamas. Stragalio is the strongest prayer dragon that we have ever gotten, even though we still do not have a searcher for crossover dress units. So Stragalio, when placed on Rega Circle from hand, so only from hand, you discard a card from your hand, you either search your deck for a overdress possessing unit, so in this deck there's only Vairina Axe, or you search for Trickstar. Mainly you're going to be searching for Trickstar, so this because the right line only searches you one Trickstar, but just like Maha, you want to have 2 XOD units to be able to beat with. So mainly you're gonna be trying to search for the Trickstar. Then when he's made into an original dress by utilizing the crossover dress skill, because he is a prayer dragon, you can color blast one and call a Trickstar from your drop zone to a rearguard circle, allowing you to then let you make 2 XOD units in one turn, or make 1 XOD and then 1 overdress unit. Because Jheva can only call 1 Trickstar and 1 prayer dragon, and then if you want to make another one, you have to use Dragario. So this is basic. You're gonna use this skill a lot more often than you did in set 9, because now your cost, now you have a lot of counter blast to work with. So this is a very, very strong skill now, and you will definitely, Dragario is definitely a target that you want to hit from the top 7 with Ryu. But speaking of top 7, we have Grail Mirror, which is the new prayer dragon that we got in this set. He only has 1 skill, but it's a very, very effective, strong skill for Nirvana. So it's when he's made into original dress, you Soul Blast 1, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, you choose up to 2 Vairinas from among them, 1 goes to your hand, 1 goes to your drop. So it's the same as Jakatsu Go for Shirayuki, is that if you only see 1, then you can add that just to your hand, you don't have, or you can, but it also has the stipulation that you can choose to put both into your drop zone to fuel Mirror's Vairina's effect, which requires you to have 2 Vairinas in drop in order to put into your original dress. So if you don't mind minusing just so that you can have the full effect of Mirror's Vairina online, you can do that if you choose to. And Grail Mirror otherwise is just a very, very good deck thingy, because we do play a lot of Vairinas in the deck, as you have seen, so you can basically just keep milling for 2 every single time that you use it for crossover dress fodder. It's just very, and also because it doesn't need a color blast, so it's automatically already very strong. And then of course we have Ryu for the right deck. Because we really don't need the extra 5k, because this deck already beats up for good numbers. And for grade zeros, we have the most original lineup in Dragon Empire ever, which is 4 heal, 8 crit. Please play the start deck crits if you want to be low accurate. 4 then you play the stat 1 crits if you want to say that you're a boomer. You can play the over trigger, which Jheva skill is not once per turn, by the way, so if you hit the over trigger, you can restand the crossover dress unit again. 3 draw because it's a piece reliant deck, and you can't play a Nirvana deck without 4 copies of our most hated resist unit Trickstar. And of course we play 1 scrambled eggs for the right deck. And that is the entire deck, because Nirvana is a very, very simple deck to understand. The deck only got 2 $3 cards that already make the deck bump up from unplayable nonsense meme tier to actually usable. But otherwise, it's still not a very strong deck because it has no win condition. The only win condition this deck has is to draw 10 cards a turn, and then you minus 15. So if you're going to play a Dragon Empire deck this set, just play Eugene. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.